Hey guys, Plant Doctor here. We've had a lot of rain. I don't know if you can tell. You can kind of see behind me here. Everything's just kind of muddy right now. So I thought a good video for us to do would be to go into the greenhouse here, and I'm going to show you guys how to diagnose electrical issues with your irrigation system. So let's go in and take a look. So the irrigation clock that we're looking at here is a rainbird. And it really doesn't matter if you're dealing with Rainbird, if you're dealing with Orbit, which is a brand that is it's a residential end user brand that's sold at Lowe's, and I think it may be sold at Home Depot as well. And then Hunter is the other brand. Those are kind of the three main ones that you see in the industry, but they're all going to work the same internally. So let's take a look inside, and all of these clocks, you should be able to pop it open like that and get into the internals of your clock. Okay, so these clocks are pretty simple in the fact that this clock could actually hold up to 22 zones on it. And so these blocks here are known as modules. And so we could put a module in for 5 through 10, 11 through 16. They make clocks that only have 3 or 4 zones on them. But this is a big clock that could hold a lot of zones. But essentially what you have is this. So there's 4 zones on this particular system. And if you look here, there's a red wire that goes to each valve. I'm going to move over here and show you guys. Now, if you're dealing with an in-ground system, you may not know where your valves are at. Now, I'll probably tell you how to find your valves. But you can see here, 1, 2, 3, 4 valves. In this particular arrangement, what it's doing, there's not a whole lot of plants in here right now. This is a school greenhouse, and it's the middle of summer, so I've got some stuff in here for them to practice propagation on when they come back in the fall, and then we'll get some pansies, but right now it's kind of empty. But this is zone 1, so the sprays that go down this bench. This is zone 2. This is drip irrigation, so we'll have hanging baskets that go down through here. Zone number 3, it's just the same thing on the opposite side of the greenhouse. We have mist over the table, and then zone 4, we have these drips that run down this side as well. Okay, so if you're looking at this from a yard perspective, you know, this might be just hypothetically backyard turf, front yard turf, backyard flower beds, front yard flower beds. It really doesn't matter because they're all going to operate the same. So you have 4 what we call hot wires, 1, 2, 3, 4, that go to each of the 4 valves, and then you have a common wire that goes to each of the 4 as well. So all your commons will be on the same screw in here. Okay, notice this says common. Sometimes these will be white wires. Most of the time they're going to be white. In this particular arrangement, the way they set it up, they did red is their hots, and then black is their common. So this goes to zone 1, this goes to zone 2, this goes to zone 3, this goes to zone 4, and then each one of these commons will go, this probably 1, this is 2, this is 3, this is probably 4. So let's look at some issues that you might have with your irrigation system. So one thing that I want to make clear here is that what these look like when they get to the valve. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, the reds. Okay, and here's your common. All the commons go back into this one. So let's go over here and take a look at what they look like. So you have 2 wires going into each valve. This is called a solenoid. So this is going to open and close the diaphragm in here. I'm not going to open these up and show these. I may do a separate video on if you have a water leak, this is where you would want to start, and I may do a video on that, but we're just talking about electrical right now. So what they've done with this one, you can see the two wires go here. It doesn't matter which wire goes into which wire here. So what I mean by that, which wire coming out of the clock goes into which one of these wires going into your solenoid. So your hot could be this one or this one, it doesn't matter. And then your common could be this one or this one. So one of these is hot, one of these is common. It's really irrelevant, but you can see what they did here. Most of the time what you'll see in a ground setting, this would be in a round plastic box, and these would be in some sort of wire nut where they are going to be waterproof. So like a berry proof rated wire nut. And then that would be in the box with your solenoid here in your valve. But what they did here, they used butt connectors and then they put electrical tape around it. So one of these is hot, one of these is common. It really doesn't matter. But that's something that you'll need to be aware of if you're trying to troubleshoot your irrigation system. So when you look at these, take the lid off your box in your yard, or if it's above ground, just make a mental note that one of these is going to be hot, one of these is going to be cold. Okay, so let's say that zone 1 is not working. So zone 1, I pulled, you can see here, I pulled the wire for zone 1. All I did was took a Phillips head and unscrewed it, and I unscrewed it out of the common. So this is the wire that's going to zone 1, okay? So what you want to do, you need a multimeter for this. This one's a digital. It doesn't matter if it's digital or analog. So analog would have the little finger that goes back and forth. But basically, we're just looking for continuity. I'm going to see if I'm coordinated enough here to do this. But notice I've got it set on ohms, so we're just checking resistance here. And basically, if it just stays on that 1, it means I have a short. But I shouldn't have a short here. So I take the red, I put it on the red. I take the black, I put it on the black. If I can do this, you can see. All right, so I had to put the camera down for a minute, and what I did so I could do this on camera is I just wrapped the red wire around my red sensor wire here that goes to the multimeter, and I should touch there. And see there how it jumped. There we go. So I know, since that multimeter gave me a reading, I know that I've got continuity throughout the entire wire. What if I didn't? So if you put red on red, black on black here from your multimeter, and you don't, this number doesn't move for you, or if you're using the analog, if it doesn't jump over, it means you have a short in your wire. So let's take a look at how we can find the short in the wire. Okay, so I went ahead and screwed back in zone 1. All right, so the black's back in the common, the red is back in the zone 1 slot here. And the first place that I like to look, if I have a short, is I'll go here. So this is zone 1 valve. Now, here again, I'm showing you guys this because it's all above ground, and it makes it easy. You can use your imagination and think that all this is underground, but if you know where your valve is at, I like to go here, and I'm not going to take all the electrical tape off here and run the multimeter again, but just like you did on your clock, you take your multimeter, you put a red wire here on this wire, take your black wire, put it on your common, and make sure you're getting a reading. If it's reading 0, your solenoid's probably bad, and that needs to be replaced. And that can be replaced easily. All you do is unscrew this. I'm not going to do it right now because there's water on it and it's under pressure, and water would come shooting out. But you just unscrew this, screw a new one back in. You can buy these at Lowe's or Home Depot or your local irrigation supply center. They're not too hard to find. If it's not that means that the break in your line is somewhere between the valve itself and the clock. So somewhere in this line here, there would be a break. How do you find the break? Let's talk about that next. So if my irrigation wires are outside underground, one of the first things that I'm going to do is just do a visual inspection. If I see a hole somewhere where somebody's been digging, well, maybe somebody cut my wires with a shovel, and then that's pretty simple. All you have to do is splice them back together. So I'm looking for places like this. If I don't see a place like this, what I'm going to do is go to my irrigation supply store and ask if I can borrow the line break finder. And I'll see if I can't find a picture of the line break finder, and post it here on this video. So I'm going to go to my local irrigation supply dealer and ask if I can borrow a electrical line break finder. Basically, it's a wand. There's two pieces to it. There's a wand that you would use on the ground, and there'll be a box that has two wires coming out of it. You would hook it up to the wire that's broken and the common that goes with that wire. Or if the common's broken, you just flip it, okay? And I'll try to find a picture and put it up here to show you what they look like. And basically you just go down where the wire is and you run that wand back and forth, and it'll make a beep sound. Beep, 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 beep. And then when it stops making that sound, you know that's where that wire is broken. Then you can dig around and replace that wire. Guys, thanks for watching The Plant Doctor. We're so close to being monetized. If you would, please hit the sub button, hit the like button. It helps us out. Any money that we make off of YouTube initially is just going to go right back into the channel. Like I said before, I've been filming with a cell phone. All right, and I've got a cheap mic from Amazon that I use sometimes. I want to upgrade the game a little bit so I can bring better content to you. I'm thinking by like September we should be there. So those of you that have hit the button, we really appreciate it. Until next time, hopefully this weather clears out a little bit. We can get outside and do something else. But this is The Plant Doctor.